So as you've seen, things can happen in a heartbeat. Shit hits the fan and you're trying to figure out how to survive. Now, a few weeks ago, we got hit by a hurricane that devastated all of the lower parts of the East Coast, from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, parts of Tennessee and Virginia. Those type of things can happen. That's reality. We get too caught up living in a false reality where nothing's going to happen to us. It's too far from home, you know, we don't have to worry about it. Well, unfortunately, guys, this hit close to home. My eyes got open and I started realizing I wasn't prepared enough. And to me, that scared me, because it's not just me I have to worry about. I have a family to take care of. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure they survive, I survive, and I'm there to protect them when this stuff kind of happens. This isn't the end. They're calling for more storms and things are happening, and to me, I want to start being better prepared. Now, at that time of that storm, I was working, getting ready for upcoming events and stuff, you know, working long hours. And the last thing on my mind was getting prepared for a storm. Didn't think nothing about it. Going along my day, and guess what? Hurricane Helene hit. We got a lot of heavy rain, some winds, toppled down trees, and we lost power. Now, I can say that was the worst that happened to us. God blessed us and made sure that we were protected. Now, in other parts, not the story. It's very unfortunate. People lost their lives, people lost their entire homes, businesses, and ways of life. So for me to sit here and think that, oh, okay, it won't happen, well, it can. We were just very blessed and fortunate that it did not hit us here in South Carolina, where we're from. I'm gonna take you through a few steps. This is not a one-all, do-all preparedness video. This is what works for us. For you, it may be different. But these are at least the bare minimum things to think of when you are traveling, when you are at home, whether you're trying to just get by for a few days or it could be a few months. Now, everything here isn't going to be to the T, so please, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But I'm trying to help you help yourself by preparing for the worst. Now, that weekend the hurricane hit, we were supposed to be out of town camping. Our first camping trip, when I told you from our last video, we were heading to the mountains. Well, thank God we didn't, because the mountains that we were staying at was in Boone, North Carolina, which got completely wiped off the face of the earth. So thankfully, we had a call from them the week prior that they had double booked our site and we're not able to fulfill our spot. So we canceled. Well, during that cancellation, I decided, all right, well, we're gonna go down and enjoy the lake. So then we decided to book Dreher Island State Park. And there again, without really thinking about what we were doing, we had booked another site on the lake. Fast forward a week, hurricane hits, everything is canceled. Flooding, you've got high winds, you've got trees toppled over, just everything's impassable. So we dodged 2 bullets and didn't even know it. So once we got home, settled in for the night on Thursday, we woke up Friday morning to the end of the hurricane pretty much. We were watching the high winds. We had power at the time. About 8:30 in the morning, we lost power, and from there it was going into panic mode. So you don't realize the things you have that start going away once you don't have power. We lost cell communication, cell towers were down all around us. We had no way to cool our food. We had limited water. We did fill our bathtubs full of water, and we got that at least somewhat taken care of. We had filled a few water jugs. So everything was semi-prepared, but not to the fullest extent. So during that time, I really started thinking, you know, what could I do better to prepare for situations like this? So hold tight. I'm gonna show you a few things. And again, everything here, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a preparer, I'm none of that. I'm just an average Joe. But what I'm wanting to do here is to help you survive in that situation, depending on what it is, whether it be weather, you know, whatever it may be. I don't know really, because even I can't think of all the bad things that could happen. You know, nuclear fallout, we go back to war, who knows? but we're just going to sit here and concentrate on what we can do to make things better. So here we go. So the first thing you got to focus on when getting prepared for anything is if you lose all your power, you lose anything and be completely off the grid, is food. We take advantage of it because we've always got fast food around us, or we got stored refrigerators with a lot of stuff in them. Well, when all that stuff is gone, what do? Now this is where I lack any kind of professionalism in this. I don't store food very well. What we buy is weekly, so it's consumed, it doesn't go bad. We don't want to try to waste. What I would like to start preparing for is MREs, ready to go meals, things that can be, stored for a long period of time, whether it be canned foods, canned meats, things that have a longer shelf life. Now, I can't tell you, I have one thing in my house outside of a few cans of beans that are stocked and ready to go for a situation like that. So I need to work on that. Now, in preparing for foods and stuff, you need to find things that if you've got a family, everybody can eat, because you've got to have the calories, you've got to have energy to survive. So in that case, make sure you're talking to your family, your wife, your child, see things that they like that you can go and try and pick up while you're out and about, because you need a variety of food. You can't just be stuck eating one thing all the time. You're gonna get bored with it, you're gonna get fatigued with it, and you're gonna lose any kind of power you have in case you need it for future events. So just be sure when you're getting those things, you're getting your essentials, your fruits, your vegetables, some type of meat. For you vegan people out there, I'm sorry, the wheat go first. So I said what I said. Just kidding. You'll survive, hopefully. But what you want to start thinking of is things to start, putting in your house for those times. Now, rule of thumb, depending on what you're looking at as far as being without power and stuff, that varies. Now, some say 2 weeks, some say 3 months. Now, when you say that, for 2 weeks, that's for one person. You need to double, triple, however many people you got in your family, that's how much food storage you're gonna need. So each time you do that, you've got to make sure you're covering all mouths. So you can't just think, all right, well, I just need food for 2 weeks for you. You got to include everybody else that you're feeding. So be sure when you're stocking up, get everybody a little something they enjoy. Sometimes you got to get those candies. Sometimes you got to get that chocolate. Why? It brings happiness back to you in the worst of times, because sometimes those little things go a long way. Now, the second biggest preparedness you can have is water storage. Water is essential for living. Now, in my household, we drink a lot of water. We don't drink sodas or anything else. Water is a key component. So we tend to make sure we have a lot, but a lot is never enough in a situation where you don't have access to it. Now, I'm on a well pump. My biggest thing I need to figure out is how to get water out of the ground when the power's out. That right there could be a life or death situation for some, and you need water to survive. So what I'm thinking is, if you have access to water jugs or anything that can store water, you definitely need it. Now, in a situation where the water can be unclean, there are several different things that you can do. They have water pills, they have life straws, they have different things so you can purify the water, because the last thing you want to do is get sick off of contaminated water. For us, we use a Berkey water filter system in the house. We like it. I've used it now for almost probably 3-4 years, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. So what we plan on doing going forward is storing some of that water, using it through the months as we feel it's needed. We don't want to put bleach or anything in there to keep it clean, but if all else fails, you can boil it. If you can create a fire, if you have a way to boil your water in those cases, it's better than not doing it and getting sick. So think of ways that you can store water, and lots of it. Key to water is 1 gallon per person per day. But you also got to think, you need it for cleaning, you need it for cooking, you're going to need it for a lot of other scenarios, washing. You're definitely going to need probably more than 1 gallon per person per day, but that is the bare minimum to start. Now, during this preparation, I did skip one thing. If you have animals, so you got to think about them too. So if you have livestock, small animals, birds, dogs, cats, rats, whatever it may be, for their survival, they gotta have extra food. So you gotta think about that, cause this little one right here, that is a 12-pound Maltese, and he eats a lot. Now he is on a diet, so we do try to feed him minimal some days, but don't forget about your animals because they are part of it. They're gonna need food, they're gonna need water, and they're gonna need shelter. So don't forget about that. Now, also, during all this, you're gonna need to think healthcare. So bare minimum stuff here. First aid kit. Now, this is something I carry with me daily. This is a all-around first aid kit from Warrior Poet Society. It has all the essentials for anything really, but this right here is probably only going to cover 1 or 2 people at most. You're going to need more than that if you have injuries, if you have any kind of illnesses going on. You know, you got to prepare for all that kind of stuff. So thinking of that, you also need to make sure if you're on medication, all your medication is up to date. You have a little bit of backstock on that, because if you don't, that could be bad. You got to think about all that kind of stuff when it comes to, you know, hygiene days. You're gonna have to stay clean during this. Like, you can't just go rogue and not wash, not do your teeth, not wash your butt, you know, because when you start doing that, you start introducing bacteria, you start introducing, you know, different kinds of things during, you know, blackout times. So you really want to think about that. Putting up soap, putting up hand sanitizer, ways to keep clean, wet wipes, whatever it may be. Because when you don't take care of yourself, that will impede on what you do for future events that during these hard times that could depend on you. So don't forget about that. And not only that, you also think about waste disposal. I know it's a topic nobody wants to talk about, but if you have no running water, how are you going to use the bathroom? You have to get rid of that waste, because if that waste sits around, it can start growing other things, and I can only imagine what that could be, but that could also lead to illness. So please make sure you have a plan on how to get rid of it. If you're on a septic system, if you're on the city sewer, I mean, any of that kind of stuff, you have to have a plan to get rid of waste. Whether it be go out back, bury it, compost it, whatever it may be, throw lime on it. It needs to be away from where you're living, and either that, or if you have a septic system like ours, you fill your bathtub full of water, you throw water on top of the toilet and the waste, and it flushes itself without having to worry about flushing the toilet. Now, as I walk my property, as I do regularly, just to check on things, during these times when shit hits the ceiling or the fan or whatever it may be, your family and you are the most important thing that you can protect. Not only just your house, but your family. So you have to start thinking security. Now, I know this is a sensitive subject for some. I don't care what side you're on. At the end of the day, you have to protect yourself. For every good, there is evil. There are really bad people in this world. And at the end of the day, during hard times, those people will prey on the weak. So don't be one of those. Now, I have, you know, some nice fencing that keeps my backyard pretty secure. The house has cameras on it, it has a security system and all that, but that doesn't mean anything when you don't have power. And that's another thing. You have to be willing to fight to keep what's yours, because in the worst of times, people will do crazy things to survive themselves. Now, there's a lot of things that have run through my mind, and I don't like thinking about it, but at the end of the day, my family comes first, and that's who I'm protecting. I've got neighbors that I care about, and I want to see them do well as well. Power in numbers is a great thing, but if those people become desperate and try to do anything to help themselves survive, well, sometimes you just have to make those decisions based on the situation you're in. But the big thing there is your house is your fortress. You have to make sure everything there is taken care of. You have got fortified doors. You've got good locks on it. Make sure if you've got big windows, they're secure, because any way a person can get into your house could pose a threat. So don't skip out on that. Look into things. Now, the reason I'm not showing more of my house, because it's none of y'all's business how I fortified it, because if I show you, you would know how to get in. And it's like a game of poker. You never show them your full hand, because it's the element of surprise that's going to get them and keep you surviving. So here's a few things that I want to be able to help you with preparing for that. Now I'm gonna tell you, some of y'all may end up not following me after this, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, these type of things have to be talked about. Now I know for some, you're anti-gun, you're anti-anything. Well, when it comes down to it, if the person's getting you when hard times are around, you'll want some of these, and you'll want to be able to know how to use them correctly, and make sure you can survive. So, in the reality of the world is there are non-lethal options. You can do things such as pepper spray, batons, I mean, things that you swing, a bat, an axe. Well, an axe might hurt them worse, but it just depends on where you land it. But when it comes down to it, in desperate times, firearms. Yes, I love my firearms. Why? Because I believe in being a hunter-gatherer. What I hunt and what I go for, I want to be able to eat and provide for my family if there is no food available, but also as a means for protection. So those protection things can mean a lot. So I have, just for example, these are just things to think about. Now a handgun is probably one of the best things that you can have as protection. Simple, easy to use. You know, this right here can ward off some of the worst people out there. Now, firearm safety, I will tell you, this gun is unloaded. It is safe, because I want to make sure everybody understands that if you're using these, you know gun safety. Now, I don't want you to think this is the end of all ends, because at the end of the day, there may not be just one person after you. It could be multiple people. And those people are willing to do what it takes to survive. And you want to survive as well. Now, this is all good, but sometimes you got to have bigger firepower. So sometimes you got to go with something that holds more ammo, something that can reach out further. And if you're dealing with multiple, entities, it's time to get out there and put in work if you got to. So, like I said, these are just things that are just necessity. You need them. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So these are just things that you got to think about. Protect yourself, protect your home, protect your family. Again, like this is a AR-15. This is a 300 blackout. It is unloaded. It's sitting on my bench vise. So again, everything here is safe and secured. These are just things to help keep you safe. That's all I can say. Like I said, I can rant and rave on this all day long on what you need, accessories and stuff to make them cool, but this is not the cool factor. This is survival. So at the end of the day, guys, this is just what I'm using to think of ahead. Now, not only for protection, but if we were to run out of food supply and I have to hunt, these type of weapons right here will also help me get animals to survive. Now, I do like, going out and hunting deer. I do like hunting dove. Those type of things are what I eat. I'm not killing things for just pleasure. I kill them to eat them and consume them because that's what they're here for. But we just want to make sure you understand that protecting your homestead, protecting your family, and protecting yourself comes at a cost. These type of weapons here are meant to take lives. So you have to take it very serious. When you pull that trigger, know what's on the other end, because that could be a life or death situation for yourself as well. Now, as you can see, that was perfect timing. So that was my brother-in-law who had been hunting this morning and got that 8-point buck. That's food, that's energy, that's things that for when you're out needing to provide for your own, that's what you get. So beautiful example. I can't say enough that being a hunter-gatherer can mean the world when you can go out and get your own food when the grocery stores are not there. Now here's another thing we need to talk about. Means of communication. When cell towers are down, the batteries die on this, how do you reach out to the rest of the world if you need it? Now, in the event of this hurricane, these cell phones did not work for 2 days. Why? The power grids are down, there's no way to power up the cell towers, and this right here just became a paperweight. So there are other means of communication out there. This is where I get another strike. I don't have another way to reach out to the world. Now there are walkie-talkie styles, there's ham radios, there's CB radios, there's other things that you could power up to try to reach out. Now, I'm not very well versed in this, so I'm not gonna pretend like I do, but have some way to reach out. Satellite phones, whatever it may be, yes, they're an investment, but it's an investment to be able to get to other people if you need it. Your house collapses, you're stuck somewhere, that's the only way you can get out to get people to you. Best thing to do is have those and learn them. Now, on to the next subject, power. Now, I am fortunate enough, I bought this years ago. I actually bought this for my camper if we were to ever do boondocking. This here is a Harbor Freight Predator super quiet inverter 3500. Now, this right here is what saved our butt and saved my food during the hurricane. When I got home, I plugged this up. I have 3 refrigerators to run. One in the house, one in this building right here, then our camper as well. We keep food in most of it. Reason being, you know, we travel a lot, so I tend to have a little bit of excess food after we travel. So the big thing is I don't want that going bad. That's money down the drain, but also wasted resources. Now, this generator here holds, I think, 2.5 gallons, and it ran for between 8 to 10 hours. Now, with all that being plugged in, I had 2 refrigerators and the camper running, and it never skipped a beat. I love it. It's very quiet. It's not so nerve-wracking that you're just bringing in everybody's attention. Now, there are bigger ones out there. Those things are super loud, but this one right here fits our needs. Find what fits your needs for you. You can plug this into your house. You can plug this into a camper. You can use this for other alternative means for power. But you've got to understand that for everybody's situation is different. So if you want to run your whole house, you're going to need more than 3,500 watts. You may need 9,000, 10,000, 12,000, whatever it may be. If you want to live in some comfort, you've got to do that, and you've got to spend the money. Now for us, I bought this one here for I think 800 bucks. For what it is, I love it. It does what we need, and at the end of the day, you know, we've got it to where it's got where my camper will plug in. I can plug in 2 more outlets here, so that's normally both refrigerators, and that's all I need. That's part of us just keeping it simple, because once you start overcomplicating that kind of stuff, you run into issues. But going into that, this doesn't run on hopes and dreams. You're going to need fuel. So I have 2 5-gallon jugs of fuel. I run non-ethanol only. I do not like this new fuel. I hate it. I can't stand it. But push comes to shove, you can't get it. You got to think storage-wise, you know, what you're going to be able to do. If these sit for a long period of time, what do? Well, you get this. These stable fuel stabilizers will keep the fuel from breaking down, but it also, you can store it, I think, for close to up to a year. Now, this big one here will treat up to 80 gallons. So if you keep anything for an extended period of time during a, you know, world disaster, whatever it may be, you're going to need this kind of stuff, because the last thing you want is this ethanol stuff gumming up the works. And yes, it does. I have lost many over the years because using regular gas, that is now what's called regular. The ethanol messes with the carburetors. It leaves deposits behind. It's just not good. So I do spend a little extra on getting this ethanol-free fuel. Say that 3 times fast. But that's what you got to do, guys. You got to think long-term how you can get power, because this won't last forever. 10 gallons may get me by for a few days. But if there's no power, stations can't be turned on because it requires power to run the pumps, you're stuck. So unfortunately, this right here, I keep this one full at all times. I keep 2 5-gallon totes ready to go. So at least I have close to 13 gallons of fuel to run. So when you multiply that out, I'm not doing that, I suck at math. This gives me at least maybe 5 to 6 days, maybe longer, I don't know. But that right there is going to help tremendously in the time of need to keep items fresh, things in the cooler that you can freeze, pull them out when they need to be thawed so you can eat it. The only other source is you got to go and get something that can be wood burning for your fuel. That way, if you need to cook, you have it. Grills, I have big green eggs, charcoal. Now, same problem there is charcoal, you go buy in bags. Charcoal isn't just readily available. So once you run out of that, next means you're going into the woods, you're cutting down trees. Now, Would I recommend cutting on some of it or cooking on some of this fresh wood? No, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to prepare meals. So sometimes you gotta overthink the process and underthink the process on, hey, we're just trying to cook, we're just trying to survive and eat. So on the subject of backup power, now generators are probably some of the better things to have, but there are other electronics that you may need to keep powered up. So there are other alternatives. Now, if you've watched some of my earlier videos, you know I built a power box. So this right here, I built off Amazon for $70. Now, I have not charged this thing in weeks. And as you can see, it is holding a 13.1 charge. It is run off of a lithium battery. It is just as simple as you can get here. Charger stays inside. This gives me, the power I need to charge up items such as my phone, lights, or anything else that I may need to charge in that time. Now, once it's depleted and I don't have power sources, guess what? Boom, power banks. Now, you can pick these up relatively cheap off Amazon. Now, this one here is solar powered. So if I don't have power, I can put this out in the sun and it will charge up enough to be able to keep this phone, lights, whatever it may be, charged to use. Now, I can't say that you're going to use everything solar one day, but it very well could come down to it. So having a few of those options, I don't have a solar power grid here at the house. It's just not feasible for me because the problem I have is my backyard would be where I'd have to put it. And as you can see, I don't get a whole lot of sunshine in this backyard. So I don't want it sitting out front. I don't want that to be a reason for people to stop here. I need to find ways to keep people from coming here in the event that something is to happen. So I don't want those shiny things being out there saying, hey, stop there. Now the next part to think about is lighting. Yes, you're going to be without power and it's going to become dark at some point. You don't want to be wandering around in the middle of the night not being able to see, trying to get the supplies, trying to get your generator refuel. So you got to think lighting. Some of this is common sense. There's things that we just don't think about often enough. So just some of my solutions that I have that I've got with me. I keep a pocket flashlight. I carry this with me every single day. It's made by Olight. I mean, it's very slim. You can hook it up to your hat. You can put it in your pocket, which is what I do. But it has two different modes on here. One's a UV light and one's your lumen light. So this one right here is UV. It also has a laser pointer. That way when you're bored, you can run your cat around. But it also has your standard flashlight. And what I like is you can make them brighter, turn completely off. It has different modes. So hold. So depending on what your situation is, I mean, pocket flashlights are a great thing to have because you're going to want to move around. But if you watched my video recently, this was my newest investment here. This is a Devos Night Ranger light. Right there, so y'all can see it, Devos. Now, if you're out in the yard and you have to need light, this right here is a great alternative after I knock it over. It has several different settings. The top here has multiple LED lights all the way around it. That way we can have light on the outside if we need it. So we were going to use this to be able to go between the house and the camper as we stayed in there for the hurricane, because it's a lot easier to cool the camper than it is the whole house when you don't have power. So that was a big thing there. So this does run off of an internal lithium battery. It does plug in. So this is where this type of stuff comes in handy with this, where you have the USB outlets to be able to plug those in. Now, the problem I have here is this plugs into a standard wall outlet. This does not have a wall outlet, so might be upgrading, because I'll definitely need one of those. So, but yeah, think of your lighting situations just so you can be safe traveling around in the dark if you need it, or around your site that you're staying. If you're, in your backyard, in your house, this will light up the whole house too. But, lights, I can't speak high enough, because weapon lights, I mean, as you can see there, light on there, into the gun, light on there. Don't be in the dark if you don't have to, because there are things out there that can get you, whether it be people, animals, whatever it may be. Everything's trying to survive. So lights, 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 get them. All right, so one more thing, tools. So things break during power outages. Some things just break down. I mean, this generator could go out and you might have to work on it. If you don't have access to all your tools, that could be an issue, but there are things that you can put together to help you. So this is something that I carry every day with me. Now, this here is everything that you need in an emergency situation. I have a Leatherman multi-tool here. Now, this has several different goodies on it. The great thing about this is all this fits in this. And I'm gonna show you how. Now guys, this ain't the best view, but I'm working with what I got here. So now this leather multi-tool here has a pair of pliers, cutters, several tools on this right here. So, and like I said, it's very robust. I mean, I got big hands and you can see, woo, after it flies out, how big this tool is, but it's worth it because there's multiple things on here you can use. Blade, I mean, it's very sharp. Try not to cut myself here. Does have a nice little saw on it. Now, in a survival instinct, if you have no way to get things that you need, these can be very handy. I mean, you can cut wood with it, branches, whatever, start a fire. It's always nice to have these. Now this is the one I have that I specifically carry for my AR stuff. It does multiple things on here for that. Punches, files. It's just got a lot of goodies on here. But also it's got toolkits. So as you can see here, this is a flathead screwdriver. These are interchangeable. I carry different types of bits, from Phillips heads to flat heads. Then we have different Torx bits over here, different squares. All these things right here, surprisingly, I've had to use in multiple instances. Knives, I mean, from the biggest to the smallest, cutting things, you know, whether it be prey, bait, whatever it may be, cutting through things, you're going to need a knife. Now I have two on here, but also other tools. I carry this adjustable wrench with me at all times. It's from Nipix. You never know when you can need something, but like I said, you can't carry large size tools. So this one right here is great size. Paracord, never know what you're gonna need to tie up. Small pry bar, and then it also has the X-Acto blade on it, so more uses for cutting. Now when I say it all fits in a pouch, literally this pouch is this big. This can be put in a backpack. If you wanted to carry it on your side, you can. It has the belt loop for it, but it all fits inside here. So just a quick demonstration of what all it will do. And there's a reason I like it, because I can get all this in here, put it in my everyday carry bag, so if I need it, I got it, and I'm not having to worry about whether or not, you know, I'm going to have to find the right tool. And there you have it. Now normally this stays in my pocket on the side because it's got a little clip, but as you see, everything fits right in here as need be. So yeah, find yourself a good multi-tool, you know, pack it out for what you may need, because you'll never know when you're gonna need it, and make use of it. All right, now let's talk things that we might need that don't get used very often. So here I have a Craftsman chainsaw. Now, I didn't go out and buy the most expensive one. I've had this one for years. Why? Because I do some yard work every once in a while that requires one. Now, if you are in a hurricane situation where trees are falling, you're going to need a chainsaw. You're going to need a way to get out if you have to leave your residence. So just be sure that you have something to be able to cut, get out of the danger zone. You may be going down the road and need this in the back of your car. Make sure you have fuel, chainsaw, to be able to get out. Now, I do have an electric one as well. You can see it up here. This is a DeWalt brushless. I use this for tree trimming. Now, you can use this on smaller items and smaller trees, but I don't recommend it, because guess what? It's battery powered, it's gonna die. So just make sure that you are prepared to cut through stuff. I try to keep extra fuel on hand at all times. coolant, anything you need to get out of your safe zone, if that is the instance. I mean, if you got flooding, you got to get out of your house, that's the fastest way to do it. So just be sure. Oh, sorry guys, trying to put all my stuff back as I go. Whew, I'm out of breath. Everybody kill me there. But yeah, just be sure to think about stuff like that. I mean, simple tools to help you, you know, clear debris, make paths for emergency workers or whatever it may be to get to you. Now for the last part is mental health. Now this is something you have to really sit back and think about. You're going to be in a lot of stress. There are going to be things around you that you cannot control. Mental health is one of those things you have to practice daily. When things go wrong, we stop thinking. And when we stop thinking, we make rash decisions. And those decisions can be a life or death situation. Don't take life so serious sometimes. Sometimes you've got to sit back and enjoy the blessings that you get every single day. When shit hits the ceiling, we got to make sure we're in the right state of mind, because again, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting your family. They need you as the big support. You know, there are things that we can do to keep ourselves stress-free, leave work at work, come home happy, think of the things that you have and the things that you don't have. Let that be out of your mind. Now, when things go bad, some things we can think about doing is making sure we keep a routine, do things daily to keep yourself up and active. Don't lay in the bed, don't dwell on what you can't control. What you can do is get up, make sure you're cooking breakfast for everybody, you're gathering the needs that you need for that day. Work out a little bit. I definitely could use it. I've been trying to get back into some light morning workouts, but also keep yourself mobile. Keep your mind busy, because if you don't, you let your thoughts dwell on you and it causes things to happen. You know, find things for your kids to do, find things for your wife to do. Work as a unit, you know, do something as a team to keep you going. Somebody gathering, somebody, you know, cleaning. I mean, still, at the end of the day, you know, even if you have no power and you have nothing to do, try to keep things sanitary, try to keep things clean, because at, you know, those times you start neglecting those, and what you don't want to have is somebody gets sick and ill and you can't get them proper help. So, you know, little things like that go a long way. But also just mind clarity. You know, for me, it's reading my Bible, it's learning those things in life that God has taught us, and, you know, we have to take those things serious, because, you know, we all want to make it at the end of the day, but surviving is the biggest thing for all of us right now, and I want to keep my mind clear. I want to be able to go and do as I need to, but, you know, like I said, we are all good right now. Power's back, groceries are in there, my wife and daughter are going to the beach right now having a good time, and that's because we were very blessed and fortunate that we are not one of those who are sitting there right now without a home. We have no water, we have no food, we have no means of communication. People are still being found today out there in western North Carolina where the landslides, the floods, and everything happened. You know, we take things too serious, and, you know, we don't think about consequences when those things happen. So, you know, I pray for those people. I hope that those who lost people find closure, and knowing that, you know, they hopefully tried, and when it's your time, you know, it's just that thing, you know, there's nothing you can do. But I hope this video can help, you know, prepare most people. I know it's not going to reach everybody. I know it's not going to be the 100%, you know, preparedness video that, you know, people are looking for. All I can do is offer insight onto what to start with. For me, as an eye-opener, there's things I definitely need to work on. Food is definitely the biggest thing, more water storage. I think next year I do plan on raising chickens. I want to start having means to provide more food, planting a garden. But when it comes to time to hunting season, I do like to go out there and try to get that meat and consume it, freeze what we do have left over. But this is the little things, guys, and, you know, I'm hoping this doesn't become a long ramble, but at the end of the day, I appreciate everything that y'all have done to help grow this channel. I want y'all to be here to continue to enjoy this. So Catching Adventures is all about going out and exploring the world and exploring your own backyard. So that's what this channel is about. It's not just where we're going to go and what we're going to do. It's just how to live life and enjoy every bit of it to the fullest. So I appreciate it. If you did like this video and all my other videos, you know, check them out. You know, it doesn't take much to support us. It's just subscribe to the channel, comment, like it, share it. This is a goal of just wanting to be able to communicate with the outside world of people that I do not know. If you see me out and about and you want to say, hey, please do. I work in the beer industry. I meet people every single day, so I'm never meeting a stranger. So yeah, definitely come up and say, hey. Hopefully as I grow this channel, I can do more to show my appreciation to all y'all who watch. Right now I'm working on some simple merch. It's nothing that I'm gonna go out here and blow out of the world to make, you know, just shirts happen everywhere and hats everywhere. But yeah, now I'm starting to ramble. So I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. And if you got any questions or comments, please leave it down below, and we'll see you soon.